If you seem to be losing performance and mileage on your 2011 through 2016 3.5 liter EcoBoost F150, then your coil packs may be faulty or on their way out. If that's the case, then these replacements from Performance Distributors will get you and your truck firing on all 6 cylinders again for right around that $300 price point. Install, according to the site, will get a solid 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, taking about an hour or less to complete from start to finish. But if you hang with me for a little bit, we'll walk you through the job later in the video. So one thing I do want to point out before we go any further with this video is that the fact that upgrading to a coil like the S.O.S here isn't going to traditionally yield massive power gains or anything like that. And if it does, typically it's because the coils you are replacing on your truck were faulty to the point of not allowing your truck to perform at peak levels. Now, that's not to say there aren't any benefits to installing something like this, but I don't want to stand up here and mislead you guys into thinking this is going to lead to big time power gains or anything like that. Now, what the Performance Distributors coils will do is help smooth out the idle and revs, barring good plugs, of course, to help clear up any high RPM misfires and possibly even improve some mileage depending on how bad a shape your old coils were. Which also leads me to another good point, and that is if you haven't checked your spark plugs on your truck first, well, definitely do so. That would be a great starting point before stepping into a more expensive modification or fix like that, because the plugs might be causing your misfire issue instead. Now, if you have replaced the plugs and are still experiencing intermittent misfires, poor mileage, and performance, then I'd say give a new set of coils a shot. So with that out of the way, let's talk about the sultans of spark coils a little bit more. And again, these guys will boost your spark output by nearly 40,000 volts when compared to the stockers, which in turn will result in a more complete combustion, and even in some cases increase your fuel economy and your throttle response, as mentioned by some of our customer reviews. Check those out on the product page, by the way, if you haven't done so already. Now, that increased output is made possible due to the increased internal winding and brass core, which is protected by the epoxy and plastic bodies of the coils themselves. Finally, guys, you are getting a set of 6 coils altogether here, backed by a 1-year warranty from Sultans of Spark in case you run into any possible issues. But what do you say we stop talking about these things and show you what it takes to get them installed on your 3.5 EcoBoost powered rig at home? So to do so, here's that detailed walkthrough we promised you earlier, along with a quick tool breakdown.
Tools required for this installation: a 1/4-inch drive with a small extension and an 8mm socket. And also, I used a topside creeper. So what we're gonna do now is remove our coils one by one and replace those with our new coil packs. So I have an 8mm socket on my 1/4-inch drive with a small extension. I'm gonna start with our driver's side #1 cylinder here. I'm actually going to remove this PCV line and just swing it out of the way. That's gonna expose that bolt and the coil. So we're gonna disconnect the electrical connection right here. It's just a standard plug with a red tab. We're gonna put the red tab to the back and wiggle it off. Again, we're gonna do this one by one just to avoid any confusion on where stuff goes. So let's get this bolt out of here. And we're gonna pull this coil right out. And you'll notice that I have my new coils resting up here on the cowl. So I'm just gonna grab another one and swing it back down into the cylinder head. Make sure it seats. You'll hear that audible click when you get it onto that spark plug. Then we are reusing our hardware. So go ahead and start those threads by hand. This is a plastic valve cover with that brass insert. So you're not gonna wanna over tighten these. Just snug them up. All right. And then we're gonna plug back in our #1 coil. Hear that click. And then let's go ahead and put that PCV line back on. And then we're gonna do that for the 5 remaining coils. So again, here's that red connector on our coil. We're just gonna pull it back, depress the tab, and pull this connection off our coil pack. Get that bolt out. and our coil. Bring in our new S.O.S coil. Make sure that's stuck on that spark plug. Let's start our bolt. All right. Two down, 4 more to go. Now you may run into a little clearance with this EGR valve here. Let's just temporarily disconnect that. All right, we're gonna plug back that first connection here and get our coil connected back up. All right, let's move on to the passenger side. That's going to wrap up my install of the Performance Distributors S.O.S coil packs fitting your 2011 to 2016 3.5 EcoBoost. And for all things F-150, keep it here at AmericanTrucks.com.